Deter, Detect, Defend, an identity theft program from the Federal Trade Commission, brought to you by the Atlantic City Free Public Library and the City of Atlantic City. It's second nature for us to lock our doors, put our keys away, or put our money in a safe place. We protect ourselves from obvious crimes like theft. But there's one type of theft that we don't protect ourselves from, and that is identity theft. Hi, I'm Adrienne Soresi. On behalf of the Atlantic City Free Public Library and the City of Atlantic City, over the next few minutes we'll learn how to protect ourselves against identity theft. Just as we look both ways before crossing the street or put on our seatbelt, we're going to learn some tips that are just as simple from experts and law enforcement. Tips on how to protect ourselves against identity theft. But the real question is, what is identity theft?
Identity theft is an unscrupulous practice where one individual or individuals try to assume the identity of an unsuspecting innocent person. People get your personal information, your social security number, birth date, all of the pertinent kinds of information, and they essentially pose as you to use that for ill-gotten gain. And our senior citizen population in the City of Atlantic City is most vulnerable, and statistics bear that out across the nation. So we've embraced a program that we call Deter, Detect, and Defend. We want to first do what we can to arm our residents so that it can be used as a deterrent. Secondly, we want to detect the activity if and when it happens so that we can defend the innocent.
For some of us, we've gone our entire lives without ever worrying about identity theft. So why is it so important now, and why is it so important here in Atlantic City?
Well, it's more important to prevent identity theft today because scams have become more sophisticated with technology. So identity theft looms larger.
Atlantic City is an international city, and we have visitors who come into Atlantic City from all over the world. We have 35 million annual visits to the City of Atlantic City, and I wanted to do something to try to protect our 35,000 or so residents.
Unfortunately, identity theft does occur, but how will you know if you're a victim? And what types of identity theft could you be exposed to? More importantly, how does it happen? Let's hear some examples from our experts of what the face of identity theft looks like.
Everybody has gotten a telephone call where someone is soliciting money for a charity, but guess what? It's not a real charity. It's a scam. Or you think of the mail. You get a letter saying, congratulations, you've won. But you have to give them all your personal information and all your money to get your prize. It's a scam. In fact, I've heard that census, people they're sending out fake census forms asking for Social Security information. The census would never ask for Social Security information.
One of the things I see often with identity theft coming from law enforcement, and also what we're dealing with day to day, are the type of scams. They're called scams, where people call you up on the phone and they tell you they're calling from the bank and there's a problem with your bank account and they need you to verify the information for them. And they seem to know enough about you that they believe they're believable. They know where you live, they know your name, they may even know your children. I spoke with your son so-and-so, and they told me to call you back later and to get the information from you. And you wonder, well, how do they know this about me? The internet. You can find out anything about anyone and on the internet. It's there. And the thieves, they know this. They knock on your door, say to you, there's a problem with your gas. We need you to let us come in and take a look. Now you're not sure of this, so you say, well, show me your ID. They may show you ID, but it's not the right ID. So should you let someone in your house without calling up, because you can say, lock the door, close the door, and say, I will call and check, And when I'm satisfied, I will let you in the house. If you get it on the internet, you get an advertisement, you get a mail from someone that says, you just won $10 million in the Canadian lottery, but you've never been to Canada. You couldn't have possibly won $10 million in the Canadian lottery if you've never been to Canada. You shouldn't take things on face value. I mean, I hate to say don't trust, because we're trusting people by nature. Good people, honest people are. But the thieves, the criminals, they count on that. They prey on that trust. They prey on your goodness.
And of course, the main goal in dealing with identity theft is preventing it from ever happening in the first place. And just like locking your doors or looking both ways before you cross the street, there are some simple steps that you can take to defend yourself.
Some of the ways to avoid identity theft, or at least reduce the consequences, one of the things I've noticed is that people carry their whole life history in their purses or their wallets. They carry their birth certificates, they have their passports, they have their Social Security card in their wallet and in their purse. Everything that's most valuable to you is vulnerable and they're available for someone to steal. If they get your wallet, they get your purse, they have your whole life, and they can do whatever they want. They can get driver's licenses in your name, they can go and buy cars in your name, they can buy houses in your name. They have everything. It's too easy. That stuff should be secured. Those items should be in a safe deposit box or a safe place.
Identity thieves will rummage through garbage, so it's important that you have a shredder and you shred your documents. You know, if you're going shopping, don't leave your purse in your shopping cart. When you get your financial statements or your bank statements, check it. Take the time and check it.
We should be somewhat leery and suspicious in today's society. It's not a good thing to be so trusting, to open your door to strangers, to open your pocketbook to strangers, to give them information without verifying they are who they say they are. One of the things that I encourage everyone to do, and in law enforcement and public safety, is monitor your credit report. It's a very valuable tool. It's a tool that tells you if someone's using your name, using your Social Security number, using your birth date, to get credit, to buy things, to get credit cards. And it's going to be there because you'll see it and you'll say, I didn't do that. Even on the telephone, someone will call you up and they're asking you for this most personal and private information. And they're asking you questions that there's a part of you that's saying, why are they asking me these questions? There's that little piece in the back of your head that says something's not right, you know, but you don't act on it. You feel kind of strange about the conversation, but you give them the information. And after you hang up the phone, you say, oh, why did I do that? So you have to stop yourself and be sure of who you're talking to.
Identity theft can be all over the board. Some examples are consumer fraud, medical fraud, financial fraud. I'm just talking about medical fraud because I'm thinking about our seniors. They have to be really, really careful because they can get bills from many doctors, many different times, and the bills might be fraudulent. So they have to be extra careful. Call the doctors, make sure that these are legitimate bills from the offices. Just be careful.
Here are some other things to consider. Don't use obvious passwords. Anyone that knows you and your life may be able to figure out your passwords. Also, say no to the promise that you could earn or borrow money too easily. Even if someone intimidates you or tries to scare you, you can just say no. The bottom line is be careful and be cautious. And if you're in doubt, double check. Now, in the unfortunate scenario that you are a victim of identity theft, what can you do and where can you turn?
If you're a victim of identity theft, you should immediately report the incident to law enforcement so they can advise you on what to do and how you should proceed from there. And there's a written record that this crime has occurred for their investigative purposes. The second thing is you should keep complete records of the steps you have taken, of the telephone calls you've made to correct your credit, of the letters that you have written. Thirdly, you should contact the credit reporting agencies. There's three main ones here for a free credit report to find out the extent of the identity theft that's occurred. And the fourth thing you should do is notify these agencies if you've been a victim of identity theft. So they can either put a freeze on your account or advise you on how to proceed further to protect yourself.
I would simply say that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It's better for us to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So we're being proactive to make sure that we arm our residents with all of the information that they need in order to protect themselves.
The Deter, Detect, Defend program is a great tool that the Atlantic City Library and the City of Atlantic City are using to reach out to their citizens, especially senior citizens. And, you know, years ago, before casino gambling, we were a small town. We knew each other and we protected each other. And even with casino gambling, it's the same thing. We try to look out for one another.
The Atlantic City Free Public Library and the City of Atlantic City have put together a wonderful identity theft protection program. However, it's up to you to take advantage of it. I'm Adrienne Soresi, encouraging you to continue to protect your identity.